Welcome to lesson 57 of Hunger and Thirst for Righteousness. It's called Zion, the city of David. And so I'm very, very excited to get into this with you guys. I mean, obviously, every time I turn on one of these lessons, I say I'm excited to get into it because I love this. I love the Lord. I love His Word. Like I say, I love it. I like. There's no greater joy in my life than diving into these revelations of the Word of God that Jesus Christ is offering us. And the Word literally says that we will rejoice at the grace that is brought to us at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Man, these revelations are grace. They're literally peace to your soul. They're joy to your soul. There's so much that it brings so much just to hear the revelation, just to receive the revelation. And so today we're getting into Zion. Zion. Let's get into it. It's going to be great. 1 Kings 8:1. So we're in the next chapter now. 1 Kings 8 says, Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the leaders of the fathers' households of the sons of Israel, to King Solomon in Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord from the city of David, which is Zion. So one, we're going to talk about this breakdown of the trueness and the reality of how deep this statement, the city of David, which is Zion. The city of David, which is Zion. This is very important. This is a very spiritual, eternal revelation that comes behind this city of David, Zion. But I also want us to notice that Solomon assembled the elders of Israel, all the heads of the tribes, the leaders of the father's household of the sons of Israel. So these sons of Israel, the heads of the sons of Israel, were coming together at the city of David. This is a very, very, very prophetic verse right here, because it's the same thing that Jesus did. And we're gonna break this down all the way down to Revelation, how this is what he's literally doing, assembling the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel to assemble on the Mount Zion, the city of David. The city of David. So let's get into this a little bit more. So Luke 24:44 says, Now he said to them, These are my words which I spoke to you while I was still with you, that all things which are written about me in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms must be fulfilled. Now, why are we reading this? Because we're going to get into some Psalms in a second, we know that David wrote the Psalms. We're talking about the city of David, so we're going to let David and what he has to say about Zion and the things that was revealed to him about Zion. We're going to read a little bit about Zion and some passages in Psalms, but I want us to read this because Jesus Christ came to fulfill the words that are in Psalms. So we understand that as we're reading Psalms, this is not just David's diary. This is a prophetic book that is telling us about the future and tells us about spiritual truths that he fulfilled, that he's doing. So we'll start here, Psalms 132, verse 11, and we'll end up going all the way down to verse 18. So let's read together. The Lord has sworn to David a truth from which he will not turn back. Read that, a truth from which he will not turn back. Of the fruit of your body I will set upon your throne. If your sons will keep my covenant and my testimony which I will teach them, their sons also will sit upon your throne forever. For the Lord has chosen Zion, he has desired it for his habitation. The Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. Notice he says to David's sons with plural. It didn't say just one son, because something we do like to do is read this Bible. And yes, everything is about Jesus, and Jesus is involved with everything. And he's involved with David's sons. But he also will admit to himself, he will say later on in the Gospels that he is not David's son. He is David's Lord. So this is deeper. Very much deeper than calling Jesus the son of David. David's sons were chosen. He chose Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. So when he says he's desired it for his habitation, he said that's where he wants to be. He wants to be in Zion. That's the city. And we understand, we say the city, it's a spiritual habitation. This is the desired spiritual habitation of the Lord. This is where he likes to be. It's like owning a country and you have a favorite city. It's my favorite place to be. He loves to be in the city of David, of Zion. That's his favorite place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. Just like we just talked about. It's a dwelling place. And he said, this is my resting place where I want to rest forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her needy with bread. Her priest also I will clothe with salvation, and her godly ones will sing aloud for joy. There I will cause the horn of David to spring forth. I have prepared a lamp for mine anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but upon himself his crown shall shine. Awesome. Very beautiful passage. Let's go into the next one. So next one, we're going to Psalms 50. We're going to from verse 2 to 5. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God has shone forth. So he says, out of Zion, from the city of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God has shone forth. So his perfection has come out of Zion. May our God come and not keep silence. Fire devours before him and is very tempestuous around him. He summons the heavens above and the earth to judge his people. Gather my godly ones to me, those who have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So he keeps talking about this gathering. Notice that Solomon gathered the heads of the tribes of Israel. And right now, once again, he's talking about this gathering in concerns of Zion. It's a gathering of godly ones to him, where he wants to dwell. He's dwelling there. That's his resting place forever. So when they come to him, they come to Mount Zion, they're coming to him. They're gathering at Mount Zion. Beautiful. Let's keep going. Psalm 78, 67 to 69, it says, and actually we'll end up going all the way to verse 72 there. It says, he also rejected the tent of Joseph and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. Read that again. Chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth which he has founded forever. He also chose David his servant and took him from the sheepfolds, from the care of the ewes with suckling lambs. He brought him to shepherd Jacob his sheep. So notice this. David, the city of David, you understand that yes, he brought these heads of tribes of Israel to the city of David, but David is the head of the city of Zion. So these heads of the tribe of Israel are coming into his headship. And notice also it says he brought him to shepherd Jacob his people, which is Israel, and Israel his inheritance. He was chosen to be a shepherd. So David is the head of the city of Zion. This head is a shepherd, which guess what? The people of Zion are shepherds. The godly ones of Zion are shepherds. These heads of Israel that are coming to Zion are shepherds. They're chosen to be shepherds, to guide the sheep. Did we finish that one off? I'm sorry. And it says, and so he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them with his skillful hands. Beautiful. Next one. So now we're in chapter 87. We're going to 1 to 3. It says, his foundation is in the holy mountains. His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the other dwelling places of Jacob. He said he loves him. He loves the gates of Zion. He loves the gates of Zion more than all the other dwelling places of Jacob. He loves it more. It's just black and white. We would hate to admit in our fleshly ways, to be honest with you, fleshly perspective, that God doesn't love one thing more than the other. Well, yes, he does. He loves Zion more than all the other dwelling places of Jacob, more than the other 12 tribes of Israel, more than all. He loves the gates of Zion. He loves Zion. Glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. Selah. Glorious things are spoken of you, Zion, O city of God. And it's funny because we call Zion the city of David, but in reality, it's the city of God. It's the city of God. That's God's favorite city. It's his favorite place. It's where he longs to dwell. It's where he's made his home, in the Mount Zion. Next one, we're going to chapter 74, verse 1 to 2. And I've given us 7 Psalms passages to read through. So we're at about number 4 here, right? And so here it says, Psalm 74, 1 and 2. Oh God, why have you rejected us forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation, which you have purchased of old, which you have redeemed to be the tribe of your inheritance, in this Mount Zion where you have dwelt. in this Mount Zion where you have dwelt. Let's keep it going. Psalms 134, verse 3. It says, may the Lord bless you from Zion, he who made heaven and earth. May the Lord bless you from Zion. So we understand it's from Zion that he longs to flow his blessings through Zion. It's through Zion that they've been chosen to bless. May the Lord bless you from Zion. This is what we have to understand, that, and we'll talk about this later on, and we'll understand why I'm saying this to you. But the Lord told his disciples that he who listens to you listens to me, and he who doesn't listen to you does not listen to me. You have to understand that he longs to bless through his disciples, which are these people of Zion. We'll get into this in a second. Last one, Psalms 129, 5-8. May all who hate Zion be put to shame and turn backwards. Let them be like grass upon the housetops, which withers before it grows up, with which the reaper does not fill his hand, or the binder of sheaves his bosom. Nor do those who pass by say, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. And so, obviously, there is great, you're bringing great trouble amongst yourself for hating Zion, the city of David, the city of God, the gathering of his holy ones. And we're going to get more and more into this in a second. But that just gave us a good little firm foundation, a little bit more of what was revealed to David about Zion. Revealed to David about Zion. So now we're going to go to the black and white truth. Let's get to it. We're going to go all the way back over to the end of the book, Revelation, where we're going to get the black and white truth. Revelation 14. It says, then I looked, and behold, the Lamb was standing on Mount Zion. So what did he say? He said that was his dwelling place, right? So there he is, standing on Mount Zion. And with him 144,000, having his name in the name of his Father written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the sound of many waters, and like the sound of loud thunder. And the voice which I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. There's only 144,000. The city of Zion only has 144,000. 144,000. There are only 144,000 of these godly ones in Mount Zion. There's only 144,000. And they sang a new song before the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn the song except the 144,000 who have been purchased from the earth. These are the ones who have not been defiled with women, for they have kept themselves chaste. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been purchased from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb, and no lie was found in their mouth. They are blameless. So let's talk about these people of the city of David, Zion. Okay, let's talk about this. So one, they know things that no one else can know. Because it says they sang a new song, right? And no one could learn the song except the 144,000 who had been purchased. Only the 144,000 can even know this song, which is really a spiritual revelation you're trying to receive, is that they have understanding, they have wisdom, they have knowledge, they have this, they've received, they have things that no one else has. No one else could learn it. It's not possible. Only ones who are able to learn this are the 144,000. Second thing that says, these are ones who have not been defiled with women, for they have kept themselves chaste. Now, you have to understand the whole word of God to understand this, because if you don't understand it, you're going to think that these people are virgins. Which I actually love that he used David. He used David and called Zion the city of David, who we know was not a virgin, because it's a lot deeper than sex. It's a lot deeper than that. There's even a greater chastity to be found in this world that even virgins get defiled by. Adam was a virgin and got defiled by a woman. It literally says that he, and I say that Adam was a virgin, as I say that because you're going to think like, was Adam a virgin? He was a virgin, because the next chapter says then he knew his wife. He came in, he did not know his wife before then. But how was Adam defiled? It said Adam was fouled. He was cursed because he listened to the voice of his wife. He listened to the voice of his wife. So how are these men defiled by women? It's simple. It's by the listening to women. It's by the obeying women, which is how most men go astray from God in this world. It's how Solomon says Solomon's issue wasn't that he married. It was that they let him turn his heart from God, because he was listening to them. He was following them. He was obeying them. He was trying to please them instead of pleasing God. And that defiles a man. It brings them out of the order of God. When it's no longer God, Christ, man, woman. Christ is obedient to God. Man's obedient to Christ. Woman's obedient to man. That's the proper way that keeps all clean. But when a man turns around and begins to obey the woman, he's separated from Christ. He's separated from God. He's defiled. These men will not do that. They will not turn their face from the Lamb, from the Lord. They will not be defiled by women whatsoever. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. So this is number 3 we're learning about these men of God of Mount Zion. They follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Wherever he goes. Wherever he goes. Wherever he goes. There is no other decision to make for them. They're going to follow the Lord. They're going to follow the Lord. These have been purchased from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb. So these also are these 144,000 are first fruits. They are the first fruits. They are the first fruits. There's a whole celebration, a whole holy festival called the Feast of First Fruits. They are the first fruits, who are being, really what you're celebrating is them. And no lie was found in their mouth. They are blameless. So they also do not lie. They are blameless. Now this lie thing is a little bit deeper than what we think about lying. We think about lying as in a fleshly sense. It is, you know, you ate a cookie. Someone asked you if you had a cookie. You say, no, I didn't have a cookie. It's deeper than that. We're talking about lying. We're talking about lying on the truth of God, lying about the reality, the truth of what's actually going on in this world. There's no lie found in their mouth. They do not speak lies. They are not false witnesses. They tell the truth. Jesus Christ said he's the truth, the way, and the life, and he also said that the word is truth. They are going to speak the word of truth all the days of their life. They will not lie. And they are blameless, which means they are not to blame for any wickedness or sin. Or they're never to blame. They're never tempters. They're never any of that. They're blameless. God looks at them and says, no, your hands are clean. There's nothing. This is not your fault. And so getting into this, we just read how it says that they follow the Lamb wherever they go, wherever he goes, right? Well, this being the city of David, you should be hearing a lot of David in this. Acts 13:22. After he had removed him, Saul we're talking about, he raised up David to be their king, concerning whom he testified. God testified this about David, whom he also testified and said, I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after my heart, who will do all my will. After my heart. That's a following. He's following God's heart. He wants God's heart. He's after his heart, and he will do all his will. That's what he loved about David. And that's also what you will find in these 144,000. They are men after God's own heart who will do all his will. It's funny because we'll talk about this in a second. I'll come back to that. I don't want to get preceded ahead of time. Now we're going to get into about Jesus a little bit, because we're going to talk about how David is a man after his own heart, right? And we know that Jesus Christ is the Lamb. So when they say that these 144,000 follow the Lamb wherever he goes, right? Well, Jesus is that Lamb, and we also know him to be the Word. So let's get into this. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the Word is God. The Word was with God, right? We'll keep going. John 1:14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So this Word that was God, it became flesh and dwelt among us. We know this to be Jesus Christ. And we saw his glory. Glory is the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. So we know that Jesus Christ is the Word. He is the Word. He is the Word. He is the Lamb. He is the Word. Now, I'm also about to help you understand how he is also the heart of God. So when it says in this verse that David was a man that was after his own heart, who was he really following? He was following Jesus Christ. Before he came in the flesh, the Word. Let's get into it though. Matthew 15, 16, and 18, it said, Jesus said, are you still lacking understanding also? Do you not understand that everything that goes into the mouth passes into the stomach and is eliminated? But the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and those defile the man. So he quite literally says that whatever goes into the stomach is eliminated. It goes out of the body, right? But the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the heart. So our words come from our heart. But what we have to understand, what we don't understand is that when we read this Bible correctly and we're trying to understand who God is not exempt from his truth. Jesus Christ said he is the truth. He said his word is truth. This is the word is God. God is truth. He's not separate from his truth, and he's not exempt from his truth. So when he says what comes from the mouth comes from the heart, you have to understand that his word came from his heart. His word, which is Jesus, is a reflection of his heart. So when it says David is a man after his own heart, he's a man that's after Jesus. When it says that these people they follow the Lamb wherever they go, they are following after God's heart wherever it goes. They're men after God's heart. Men after God's heart. Matthew 4, 18 to 20. Now, I love this because now we're getting to the reality of these 144,000. We're getting the reality about these men after God's own heart. We're getting to reality of who these people are, of great such esteem, and a glorious speech has been said about them. Matthew 4, 18 to 20. Now Jesus was walking by the Sea of Galilee. He saw two brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Why? Because they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They follow the Lamb wherever he goes. There are not many people who can really accept this call of follow me. And this is why I speak about this so much, the difference between disciples and crowds, because it is a high esteem to call yourself a disciple of Jesus Christ that is willing to follow him and leave behind everything to follow him. That is not something to take lightly, and it's not something to walk around saying I'm this if you're really not that. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Why? Because they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Why? Because they're men after God's own heart. John 10, and we'll go all the way down to verse 5, I believe. And this is a very good passage right here. It says, truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbs up some other way, he is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he puts forth all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. Once again, it is embedded in these people. These are his sheep. When you imagine the Lord on this mountain of Mount Zion and he's with 144,000, those are his sheep. Those are his 144,000 sheep. Those are his. That's his flock. And they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. He's their shepherd. It says the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They were made to know his voice. They were made to hear his voice and follow. Just like we just saw back here with Peter and Andrew. They heard his voice and they follow because they're sheep and they know their shepherd. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. They don't know the voice of strangers. The only voice they know is the Lamb's voice. Now, once again, we have to understand this. Although they are sheep, these sheep are actually shepherds. They're chosen sheep to become shepherds. Just like we talk about how David was a chosen shepherd, correct? Well, John 21:15-16, this is him talking to Peter, the same man he just said follow him, who was his sheep. He's also chosen to be a shepherd. So these are chosen sheep that are shepherd. They're shepherd sheeps. They're shepherd sheeps. So when they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? And he said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And he said to him, tend my lambs. He said to him again a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, tend my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wish. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will gird you and bring you where you do not wish to go. Now this he says, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, follow me. Follow me. And so as he's telling him to follow me as a sheep, he's also telling me I've anointed you to be a shepherd. That is the reality of these great men of God in Mount Zion. The chosen men of God is 144,000. They are shepherds of the Lord, yet sheep to the crowds. Wait, I said that wrong. They're sheep to the Lord, yet shepherds to the crowds. There we go. I'm sorry about that. These great men of God are sheep to the Lord, yet shepherds to the crowds. Jeremiah 3:15, then I will give you shepherds after my own heart who will feed you on knowledge and understanding. This is just the truth that he's been telling us. And he says the thing about these shepherds, right, is they're after my own heart, like we've been talking about. David after my own heart. Jesus Christ was the word. He's the heart of God. He says, follow me to his disciples. They follow him. They're after his own heart. I will give you shepherds after my own heart who will feed you on knowledge and understanding. So the true shepherds after my heart, what does he say they'll do? They'll feed you on knowledge and understanding. Those are his true shepherds who will feed you on knowledge and understanding. So now we're going to get into a little bit more about his disciples and revealing how much these are the sons of David. These disciples that he's calling his disciples, these people that are following him, they are sons of David. They are after the order of David. 2 Chronicles 13:4-5. Then Abijah stood on Mount Zemarium, which is in the hill country of Ephraim, and said, listen to me, Jeroboam and all Israel. Do you not know the Lord God of Israel gave the rule over Israel forever to David and his sons by a covenant of salt? Forever. Gave him the rule forever. Forever. This is not temporary. Forever. Eternally. They gave them this rule to David and his sons by a covenant of salt. Now, covenant of salt. If you've read the Gospels, that should make your ears pop up. Covenant of salt. Covenant of salt. Covenant of salt. And we've talked about this in the past 2 lessons. If you've been listening, this shouldn't be a surprise. Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has become tasteless, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. So he calls his disciples, this is in Matthew 5, he's talking to his disciples. He calls them the salt of the earth because they have been ordained by a covenant of salt to rule over Israel. Come on now, the word of God is too perfect. So we're going to go back into this reality of 144,000. We're going to read another passage that talks about these 144,000 in Revelation. So Revelation 7, we'll go all the way down to verse 6 here. Actually, we'll go down to verse 8. After this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth so that no wind will blow on the earth or on the sea or on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, having the seal of the living God, and he cried out with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the bondservants of our God on their foreheads. So they're going to seal the bondservants of our God on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000, sealed from every tribe of the sons of Israel. From the tribe of Judah, 12,000 were sealed. From the tribe of Reuben, 12,000. From the tribe of Gad, 12,000. From the tribe of Asher, 12,000. From the tribe of Naphtali, 12,000. From the tribe of Manasseh, 12,000. Now, one thing I do love about this is you're understanding that although he did, through the tribe of Judah came David, came Jesus. He did choose the tribe of Judah to bring about David and bring about Jesus. But you have to understand this is greater than the flesh, because there are 12,000 from every tribe that are assembled to this 144,000 of the Mount Zion of David. It's a spiritual choosing even within those tribes. It's not about the flesh. This is a spiritual choosing. This is a type of heart, a type of spirit these people have. From the tribe of Simeon, 12,000. From the tribe of Levi, 12,000. From the tribe of Issachar, 12,000. From the tribe of Zebulun, 12,000. I love this also because the Levites in the flesh were known to be the priest of God, right? But he's trying to let you know this is deeper than the flesh. It's deeper than the flesh. Actually, the 144,000 are actually the Levites of the spirit. The priests with no physical inheritance that follow him, his chosen godly ones. From the tribe of Zebulun, 12,000. From the tribe of Joseph, 12,000. From the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000 were sealed. 12,000 were sealed. So let's keep this going because we understand these are of the sons of Israel that he's choosing 12,000 of each to be gathered of this 144,000 of the Mount Zion, correct? Matthew 15, and we're going to go all the way down to verse 21 and 24. Jesus went away from there and withdrew into the district of Tyre and Sidon, and a Canaanite woman from that region came out and began to cry out, saying, "Have mercy on me, Lord, son of David. My daughter is cruelly demon-possessed." Check this. But he did not answer her a word, and his disciples came and implored him, saying, "Send her away, because she keeps shouting at us." But he answered and said, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Now, as we know, Jesus Christ tells the truth, and this conversation goes on, and she ends up saying, "Can I get even the dogs can receive, crumbs that fall from the master's table?" He says, "Your faith is great. Your faith has made your daughter well. Go, But he tells the truth. He's telling her the truth right now. I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. What is he really saying? The lost sheep of Israel. We just talked about this, how these 144,000 are sheep to the Lord, yet shepherds to the crowds. He came to find his sheep. He came to find his 144,000 to bring them back to his mountain, to their dwelling place where they belong. That's what he came to do. That was his mission. And yes, he is not denying the salvation of everyone else in the world as he does it. Shoot, he chose them to be shepherds to bring others into salvation. That's the reality. But it's like this. If you want to change the world, let's say this. If I want to change the 7 continents of the world, well, let's not go into 7 continents. If I want to change all the countries of the world, right? Who would I address? Would I go and address all the people in the nation? No. I would go to the president, the person who's the head of the country, which is why he is saying this statement, is I'm going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why? Because these are the heads of my people. If I get them together, if I get them right, if I pull them into their habitation and get them right, they are going to get their sheepfolds together. As shepherds, they're going to get their sheep together. But if I'm here and my focus is on their sheep, but not the shepherds, I can focus on the sheep. But if the shepherd's still not right, the sheep are never going to be put together. So his focus was the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So I can get my shepherds together, so I can get the crowds together, and I can bring my kingdom to full capacity. There we go. Now, when he sent his 12 disciples out, what did he tell them? Matthew 10, 5-6. These 12 Jesus sent out after instructing them, "Do not go in the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter any city of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." He's not playing. He's saying, listen, I have lost sheep. I have 144,000. I need you to go and find these people. He said, don't go in the way of the Gentiles. Don't seek out Gentiles. Don't go and enter in the city of the Samaritans. He said, don't go there. I want you to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said, listen, they're lost. They don't know who they are. Help them realize who they are and bring them to me. Bring my sheep back to me. James, who was one of these disciples who heard this command, along with Peter, who also wrote in the same way, but I'm just going to give you James for now. The first verse he writes, James, a bondservant of God, which is said that they marked the bondservants of God, right? The 144,000 got marked. He was one of the people who accepted the call to follow me, right? James, a bondservant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes who were dispersed abroad, greetings. Who was he writing to? Who's he writing to? The lost sheep of Israel. That's who he's writing to, because he's obedient. And he's with the mission of Christ. Now, I love this too, because it also says that these 12 tribes are dispersed abroad. They're everywhere. This is why this verse is also still true. And it's still, this great commission is not null and void because you're looking for the lost sheep of Israel. No, you must go to all nations. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations. You must go to all nations. Why? Because the 12 sheep, these lost sheep of Israel, they're dispersed around the whole world. They're in North America. They're in South America. They're in Asia. They're in Europe. They're in Africa. They're in Australia. I don't know if they're in Antarctica, but they might be in Antarctica. You must go to all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to observe all that I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Now, I love this because as we're reading this, you know, this is what he told us to do. Baptize, teach them all that he commanded you. So along with that is teaching them all these words, all the commandments, everything that he's saying. That's fine. That's fine. And then we also I send you out with this commission. I send you out with this commission to go and go to all nations, baptize them, teach them all that he commanded. Teach them that. And don't be discouraged, because his 144,000 will not deny his word. His 144,000, they will leave behind everything to follow Jesus Christ. His 144,000 will, they will let nothing stand between them and the Lord. So when you find people who are letting people stand between them and the Lord, it's fine. You're not one of the lost sheep of Israel. Keep it moving. I gotta find these 144,000. I gotta find them. Because what we don't know, and I'll add this little tidbit. I didn't want to talk about this too much in this talk. We'll talk about this later. But in the 5th seal of God, it talks about his bondservants of God that are martyred for the word of God and being faithful to the testimony of Jesus Christ. And he literally tells them to be patient and wait for the full number of their brothers to be martyred is accounted for. The full number. We must get to 144,000. We have a mission. We have a mission. And we need to abide by that mission. And if you're doing that mission, you will never be discouraged when you understand how rare it is. How rare these people are. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. And so, Zion, the city of David, a very great lesson. I love doing it with you. That was lesson 57. We do tithe and offering. MFH pulls $800 a week to ensure that God's work can and will continue through this ministry. The rest of the money will be redistributed. All collective funds will be evenly given back out to those that gave. We'll be the first to bless you. So what we do is we take the money. We take $800 a week. Everything that's extra is divided back out to those that gave. That's Cash App, $ Christ King Way. That's PayPal at MFH Ministry. This was lesson 57, Zion, the city of David. I love doing it with you. We'll be back soon, lesson 58. Be blessed.